Yo, what's up, y'all? We're back, and if you don't notice, we're at a new place, but that's not what I'm going to talk about right now. So this session right here is my Monday session, and it is day one, week one of a new block. So brand new start with everything. At the time of recording this right here, it has actually been a whole week, so it is week 2, day 1. But this was week 1, day 1. So brand new stuff. I have regular high bar squats instead of high bar pause squats. So we have 187.5 kg top set right here for set of 5. Pretty easy, although that definitely does feel awkward to not do the pause once I've been used to only doing pause high bar for so long. But I think I'm actually feeling significantly stronger in the non-pause high bar compared to the pause high bar, even though the pause was so short in duration. It was still a pretty big hindrance in load limitation, I think, because I started off this block right here with 187.5 kilos, which is significantly higher than I ever started a high bar block, and still moved according to RPE. So I'm just continuing this trend, hopefully. And the bench was great, 150 kilos. That is a very, very good starting point for the bench press. Well, hello there. Where are we at? There's a weird ass place.
Get used to it.
Get used to it, because we're living here now. I've moved in with the deed. And we bought, or what is it called? We got a new apartment in the middle of August, which is going to be the apartment of gains and cats.
Yes.
So, yep, I've moved out. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And now we're moving in. Even cooler.
Right now things are a mess, but we will sort it out.
I think we'll have to distract them. Hey, Papa. Just get in the house. Ska du säga något? Va? Hej! Det var som månad. Jag menar. Don't get too. En månad. En pappa. En månad. En månad. No more tweets for you.
Better shut the door then.
Yo. You guys will get a full house tour thing once we have made it a real thing.
Yes, made it a real home instead of a home of boxes.
Home of boxes. Alright. It has been a couple of hours by now. We've done some more stuff. Got the kitchen a little bit more done with stuff. It's pretty much fully operational, ready to make food in the kitchen. Only thing we need is a rice cooker and some bigger pots. What? And some shelves for things in here, probably. And we got the bedroom with the bed not assembled yet, but we'll get that done. And we got all of these things and the chunks. And in here we got the chunk number 2 and the deed. And we got my thing set up, editing, video making programs, gaming setup right here. Currently watching Clone Wars season 2 episode 3, something like that. So if you know, you know. And we got a upstairs thing up here, which is cool, but at the moment we're not using that for anything.
Only friends.
Only friends coming over, which basically means nothing.
No one. We don't want visitors.
No. And we got some pretty good views out. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And yeah, also out here. So this is the new place where you will see me. But now, let's go train some week 1 deadlifts. They're gonna be pretty chill. We have pause deadlifts here again for my secondary day with sets of 4 for this block instead of sets of 5 as was in last block. So a little bit lower volume with that. But hopefully we can push some heavier weights. So today I'll need something like 245 to 255 for the top set to be in range for something good. But with all of the moving around a lot yesterday, we talked about how many floors we went up yesterday, and we said about 80 floors with like boxes and chairs and couches and yeah, all that kind of stuff.
So I got the hugest calf pump I've ever had, and I hate it.
Yeah, yeah. Did train yesterday, and that was significantly lower performance than expected. As it would have been a normal training session, obviously we did expect some training degradation. So I'm expecting to be in the low end of normal, hopefully, but still somewhat good. So what we're going to focus on instead is just making the accessories good quality, get some good pump in there, and get some good technique work in with the RDL, stiff-legged deadlift things, and whatever you want to call it, and get a good back pump for today. Alright, so about to do deadlifts, and a lot of you guys have been recently asking about my deadlift technique and everything with that. So I don't want to do a guide on how to deadlift, but I can go through some of the cues that I use and I like to do myself for my own deadlift, and not something I necessarily teach all of the guys that I coach, or something that I like expect other people to do and think that other people should do. That's just what I do when I deadlift. So first thing first is the setup for the deadlift, which is actually really, really important. One thing is I use chalk in the deadlift for all the weights, every single weight that I'm using. Even at 70 kg, it feels off if I don't have chalk on. And it's not like I can't hold grip. I have a very, very strong grip. I can hold on to way more than I can deadlift. I can double overhand over 200 kg. I can grip is not an issue at all. But I still like to use chalk. And if you see it, I'm always using this barbell right here. This is the only barbell that I want to use. It is the competition one, and I think it's the best one. I hate using any other barbell ever. If I have to compete on another bar, then I'll practice on that, but I really want the best possible bar, even though grip is not an issue for me on any barbell. So I always take the best possible barbell and always use chalk, and I only want to use competition standard plates. The color is cool, but it's not needed, but it has to be competition 25 kg plates. So that is the setup here, and obviously the platform I want to be as close to competition as possible, as sturdy and rigid and hard as possible, so it's not, the barbell is not sitting down into the floor. So what I like to do is, obviously I'm deadlifting sumo, so I used to first of all get my right leg into position and then my left leg into position. So I go for these rings on the barbell and I put my shin up to the ring, and I do it like this. So I put the shin up here and then the shin up here. And I kind of push myself outwards while I'm doing this for both the legs. I kind of push this way, not so much spreading the floor away. That is a different motion in my opinion, where like externally rotating. It's more so I'm pushing out when I'm doing this in here and in here. So I'm not only pushing down, I'm also pushing out with the legs. And I don't personally externally rotate a whole lot. I don't know if you can see it, but my feet are very pointed forward actually. Let me just check if you can see that. So my feet are very much pointed mostly forward like this, and I'm focusing already here on pushing a lot down and outwards into the floor. And I actually really get a lot out of the shoes that I'm using while I'm deadlifting because of that, because I really do a lot of outwards pressure. And the Vivo Barefit had a lot of pressure out there. They can support a lot there. So I'm pressuring a lot outwards already here. Then what I'm doing is I really like to get my shoulder position as good as possible. And that's really the only thing I think about in terms of anything else than my feet. It's my shoulder position. And I don't really actually think about that too much. So getting the feet in here in this position. And then I always like to do some sort of thing with my hand to get my shoulders in position. It doesn't matter what it is. If that is doing something like this or doing something like this, whatever it is, something where I can get my hands down as long as possible. Maybe even like touch the ground, some people do, whatever it is. Get the hands out as long as possible while still staying somewhat upright. So the cue is to get your hands down while still staying upright, keeping your chest up, getting the shoulders kind of as far away, as much up as possible. Pulling these upwards and the hands downwards. Getting the hands close to the bar while the shoulders are up here, almost at the full logout. So already here I can tell this is going to be a good deadlift. Getting the shoulders really far upwards and just kind of seeking the hands down until they're touching. And then I'm going to try and get as close to the barbell as possible, so not like getting all the way down, but really just getting them just right around here, and then I can lift. I don't really think too much about the lift itself. Once I'm in the setup right here, and I've got everything down, everything with this, right here I don't think about anything at all, really. I just push. So that is pretty much how I deadlift. It's mostly in the setup, as you can see, but once I've gotten a grip of the bar and I'm starting ready to push, I'm doing it. One note is for the brace. I do a top down brace, so I'm bracing up here and then going down, but it's kind of a little bit of a hybrid because I don't like to brace up here. I like to get down into the position, so it's really easy for me to, in my head, imagine, like visually and also just like, not visual, but feel the position that I want to be in before it actually is happening. So I'm standing right here, imagining what it's going to feel like to hold around the barbell and be in this position. I'm imagining that while I'm here, and then I'm bracing to be into that position. And I'm not trying to do a very ribs down brace, where I'm going to flare the ribs out, because that is going to like get me into a worse position, it feels like for me. So I'm standing here a little bit into this position where I'm already going to be, and then I'm bracing, or I'm pretty close to the barbell. It's not so much far away from like bracing down here, it's just bracing right here instead. So I'm into the position, gonna brace, and then deadlift. And that's how I deadlift. Alright, last one we've done there, 220. It was like bad for a normal day, but considering all the moving that I did yesterday, I'm like pretty pleased with that. So my max load for today, or like the load that I had to maximum do to still be good, was 255. So I'm just gonna go 250, which should still be fine. I'm definitely thinking that should be within the RPE. So let's go 250 for set of 4 post right here. Alright, so deadlifts for this day was overall pretty good, I would say, considering everything. Still obviously bad for like a normal thing day, but since it is week 1 and everything, I'm not really too concerned about it at all. And also now future me can already tell that deadlift ended up skyrocketing the next primary day, so it ended up being extremely good, which I will show you guys in the next video probably. So probably by tomorrow, something like that. But it ended up being really, really good. So I didn't have to do that much to still get the stimulus that I needed to be strong enough for my primary day. I did 250 here, and I'm already spoiled right now. For my next primary day in only week 2, I ended up with 300 kilos. So like, I don't need a big stimulus for that anymore. 300 kilos is kind of casual by now, which is insane. But we're going to talk more so about that in the next vlog, video, whatever you want to call it, where we're actually doing that. So right here, I finished up the session with lots of pretty cool accessories. Got the lat pull downs here, not super clean or anything like that, but actually using pretty short pauses in between sets and combining that with like quite a lot of time on attention for each rep or for each set, because there's a lot of reps, and when it's not a lot of reps, I'm doing a pretty good tempo on them. Actually gives me an insane pump either way, so I don't really need to go to like that RP 10 kind of crazy stuff to still get some really good lifts in right here. So this is all feeling great. Got a pretty crazy lat pump from the lat pull downs, even though they're not like super perfect form or to an insane RPE. It's just lots of time under tension and lots of pump, so really, really good pump work right here. And the same thing for the new face pulls that I did right before. Those are like, I think like same Zuleg does them, something like that, but straight bar lying down. It's basically just like a face pull with stability, and that is a really big thing because stability is pretty annoying in the face pulls. I've also switched some tricep stuff up because of that, which you will see very soon, because again, I don't like the instability of a tricep press down. It actually gave me some core dumps at once because I pushed them so much, and even though we keep upping the reps, I still need to go pretty heavy to get like a true RPE 8 plus or something like that on them. So we ended up just, I ended up just switching them over to some overhead tricep stuff. Also, I'm not doing much like in the lengthened position of the tricep. Haven't done it in a long time, so I did these. Probably pushed them significantly too heavy in the first time, but just felt really, really good. So ended up going all the way out to like RP 12 with some lengthened partials, but it is what it is. Next session, let's go. All right, second training session in the new apartment, or while we're living in the new apartment. Very windy. Crash.
Also kind of tired today.
Also kind of tired from all the moving around.
Yeah.
And being in IKEA and all sorts of weird ass places. But we got the stuff done, and today I have a training session with Deed. So Deed's gonna do deadlift, I'm gonna do squat, and then we're gonna do bench together.
Yes.
And then we have some pretty cool accessories, and we're probably gonna push them a bit. I'm not gonna push my dumbbell press though, because my chest still has some weird feelings sometimes. So I'm just taking that super light and controlled and just going with high tempo and lots of time under tension. But anyways, time to train. Alright, next session right here. We have Deed's last warm-up right here of 130 kilos which is pretty cool, deadlift. And my last one right here at 160 kilos. So my squat was feeling pretty off for this day. Again, the moving and everything with that definitely mostly affected my lower body. So that means squats and deadlift. Bench wasn't really that affected, which was very clear this session right here, like a normal bench press. Now Deed is actually pulling 3 plates right here, pretty casual, pretty easy, which is pretty cool and actually pretty good for a female, especially one in like the 69 kg weight class. Just pulling 3 plates like that, that is very, very good for Deed. So she's getting stronger as well. And yeah, here's my squat top set, 180 kg for a set of 5. Pretty easy still, but not really comfortable at all. You can see like the bar is a little bit wonky. It is further down my back than I would like it to be, and like it is just a little bit wonky of a squat right there. But it's fine. It is week 1, and it is my tertiary squat day, my third squat day, which is by far the worst of the 3. So it is potentially like the worst day of the entire block for my squats, since week 1 is where fatigue is the highest, fitness is the lowest, and it's my tertiary day where it's the worst also within the microcycle. So this should theoretically be my worst possible day within a block. And it was also pretty bad for the squat, but the bench was actually still fine. So what I talked about later on was like, if this is the worst possible day, then I mean I'm pretty happy with that. Deed hit a pretty good tempo bench triple right there, 72.5 kilos. Deed is just like me, a bench and deadlift specialist, and squat is just a side thing that's also cool to do, but bench and deadlift is the real stuff. So we did some light dumbbell press here, which was also just fine. None of us really pushing dumbbell press right now a heck of a lot. But yeah, I'll probably soon get back to that. It's just like my chest cannot handle the like pretty crazy load progression that I've had on bench press, so I'm just taking a little bit more casual. But I have increased the intensity overall a little bit for my chest accessories, and I can actually very clearly feel that on my bench press, that doing all of my chest accessories is really doing a good thing for my bench press, not just in the long term in terms of hypertrophy, but also just like in the short term immediately. So here we have the recap of everything, and thank you guys for watching.
We did it!
Sup y'all, we did it.
Not as tired as pre-training.
Not as tired as pre-training. We got it done, and now we are on the way home to the cats.
To cook some dinner.
To cook some dinners. And it was a pretty good session. Still week 1 for me, so this is like theoretically, just looking at it from a longer like scope, this should be my worst and weakest session of an entire block, because it is my tertiary and quaternary day for squat and bench press, so like the least important ones for both. And it's week 1, and it's just like my weakest day overall, just like looking at the numbers from previous blogs on this day. So if this is the worst possible day, then we're in a really, really good spot, because this was an alright session. My bench top set single at 150 kilos was pretty good, like it moved very easy. So we are pretty much in a very good spot with that.
My training was alright. I had a heavy deadlift single, which didn't hurt in my lower back, so that was a huge success.
And it was like only 5 kilos off PR since we've started working together.
Yeah. And then I had a quite cool bench, some tempo 3 reps, which was okay. Yeah. And then I had some accessories, which were okay.
Yeah. Match the heaviest tempo you've ever done?
I think so.
Yep. For 4 sets of 3, so
yeah,
should be good. Dida has week 4 next week, so we have very high expectations of her next week, where she has to do very, very big, good things. So
stay tuned for that, I guess.
He doesn't like when I put expectations on her, so
I just want to train.
Yeah, that's good though. That's good though. We all just want to train, so that's pretty cool, guys. And I'll probably see you guys later.
See.